Hello, muffins. This is your analysis video for that final scene in Trainspotting. So, just get myself comfy. Right. So let me talk you through this final scene. I'm going to pick out. Remember, these videos are just a few ideas. It's not all of them. It's just some key points. And if you try and listen to the way that I'm talking about things and try and use some of that vocabulary for your own analysis. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at narrative and ideology as part of our A-level study here. With narrative, it's the opening and closing scenes are always really good. So if you have a narrative question, the opening scene is always full of meaning when the director is world building and putting together their kind of like the verisimilitude of their worlds. We are getting recognition, alignment, and allegiance. As recognition and alignment went too far there. It's not really until these final scenes that the audience are required to sort of like make moral judgments and final decisions about characters. I always think that it's okay to use spectatorship language, even if the question's not really asking for it. It just shows another level of understanding and ability. And I think it's great to use all the tools in your arsenal when doing an analysis. Throw everything you got at it. So the final scenes are really good for questions about narrative and ideology, because this is the director's final message. This is what the director wants the audience to leave the cinema thinking and feeling about. So final shots are always really good. If you get stuck, what is the director chosen for the final image of their film, or the opening shots conversely as well? Always really, really good for analysis. So let's have a little look at Danny Boyle's Trainspotting. Of course, it's going to beach ball like that. Pause. We have a sound bridge here, moving from scene to scene, and I think it's Born Slippy is the soundtrack, and we're going to talk more about that later. But that moment where Begbie blows the smoke into Benton's face, it's a real power play, isn't it? And for me, I think that that's the moment where Renton makes up his mind. So our opening scene our closing scene, sorry, sort of starts with this really high angle shot looking down on them. This is a shot of judgment, looking down on the characters. But also it reminds me of kind of like a CCTV kind of angle. Looking at this really unusual room, this round room, sort of symbolizing like the circular nature of the narrative. We're going to return to some of the key visuals and audio cues that we've heard from the beginning in this final sequence. And we've got a repeat of these sickly sweet colours that we get all the way through, the pale pinks and the pale yellows. Sort of like representing the themes of addiction that we have all the way through. Now, oh sorry, I think you can probably hear the traffic. My house is right on by a road, so sorry if you hear the traffic going past. Hopefully the microphone cancels some of it out. Okay. Going to get a nice profile shot here of Renton. He's now in this pale blue top. It's a very clean and cleansing colour. So he's now clean and pure, and the costume colours and the colours of his costume in these sections echo that. Right, now this is a really interesting shot, and it's really easy. What have I done here? Hang on. There we go, fixed it. It's really easy to kind of miss this. This is a point of view shot. This is Spud's point of view. So this whole scene is unfurling through Spud's eyes. What Danny Boyle is doing quite often is that he's placing the audience in the position of the most innocent character in the room. In this scene, it's Spud. So we're looking at all this sort of like criminal, sinful behaviour going on around us through these innocent eyes. Spud is the most sympathetic character in the scene, in all scenes that he's in, really. And so he's a great candidate for the audience to align with and sympathise with. So we see this incident sort of through his eyes. Now, this next section is really, really interesting. And I'm going to talk now and then be quiet when it happens. So the music is going to kick in right at the moment where Renton has to be his most quiet and still when he's taking the bag. And what that's doing is that's creating this incredible feeling, this incredible rush. So your heart is pounding as like the music kicks in, but at the same time you're holding your breath. Oh, I went ahead a bit too far. Here we go. So almost a fourth wall break there. And he throws away the alcohol and chooses the water. I think this is a fourth wall. Some of my students are like, not really. I think it's a fourth wall break. And the significance there of this very Brechtian technique, this fourth wall break, is to kind of like create this alignment with the audience. He's looking at us. Is he looking at us for like permission? Is he looking at us to say, right, we're in this together? The idea of him looking at the camera in this moment is really interesting because it's not threatening like the fourth wall break was at the beginning. It is a bond now that we have with Renton. So it is this look to the audience, looking for permission, or this idea that we're in it with him. Yeah, that's a fourth wall break. So look at determination. Now here's the bit I was talking about with the music. I'm going to be quiet so we can listen. So Begbie is this monstrous, fearsome character, and he's so unpredictable. He's so rageful that we know how dangerous this moment is. So this is one of the climactic elements of the entire film, and it's so clever. We have that incredibly powerful, upbeat music that is getting your adrenaline going, but at the same time, the visuals are trying to get you to be still and quiet. And they contradict each other. The music is like contrapunctal to the action, so it creates a really interesting juxtaposition of emotion in the audience. We have this desire to run, the music is telling us to move, but then we have this understanding that we must be still and quiet because Begbie could flip like that. In the opening scene, we have Renton sort of stepping over the camera and stepping over people in the drug den. We've got an echo of that here. So in this scene, we have several repetitions of things that we see in the opening. This is a Renton point of view shot. Oh, look at his little face. So he's crying, he's distressed, and again, he is the most pitiable and character that we can emotional connection with really easily. He's the most childlike. He's the most innocent. But I think this moment is really important because if we think about what then happens at the very, very end of the film, this becomes really, that look between them becomes really significant. More on that in a minute.
Now, I've justified this to myself in all sorts of ways.
Okay, now here we go. So it's a low angle shot. So we're looking up at Renton. He has the power, and look, we finally have some sky. We have that really claustrophobic situation in the room where everything is sort of like in that like cell-like room where they're all imprisoned together. And now we have natural light, high key light, wide open spaces. It's literally like taking a lungful of air as soon as he enters the London streets.
It wasn't a big deal, just a minor betrayal. Or we'd outgrown each other, you know, that sort of thing.
This is so interesting, this shot. So you can have a Dutch angle, but you can have like this 90-degree angle here. Which is absolutely extraordinary. And at the beginning of the film, the very first thing we see Renton do is he jumps over the camera, and this echoes that. So this shot really echoes the fact that he is stepping over the camera, stepping over us, stepping over what we represent. So if we're the mainstream, again, he's stepping over us. And this Dutch angle, a slight canted angle or Dutch angle, usually represents something's wrong with the world. Well, if something's wrong with the world with a very slight angle, this is an extreme version of that. It's an intensifying of that experience.
But let's face it, I ripped them off. My so-called mates. But baby, I couldn't give a shit about him. And sick boy, well, he'd have done the same to me if he'd only...
It's almost as if we are like lying on the ground like Spud was, and we turn and look at him go. So the audience are really quite passive. If we are representing sort of like an addict lying on the floor, or like Sick Boy or Spud lying on the floor looking at him go, we are sort of like still stuck in this position, and we watch him walk away into the distance. It's as if the world's turned upside down, and he's gonna like it becomes clear now that he's gonna get away with it. Crime wins.
only thought of it first.
This is another really interesting visual here. I think we have about 6 different Rentons in this shot. So Renton here is being two-faced. I'd like to say duplicious instead of two-faced. So his duplicity, his betrayal is echoed here. Throughout the film, we see several different incarnations of Renton. He's very different here to how he was at the start, and then we have how he was when he was like drying out, and then we have how he was with Diane. We've got several different personas that he seems to try out here. So he's got lots of different sides to his personality. That's what this shot is about.
And Spud, well, okay, I felt sorry for Spud. He never hurt anybody.
Oh.
I'm a bad person, but that's going to change.
Okay, sorry guys, there's a little bit of a glitch there, glitch in the matrix. So what we have appeared to skip there is a long shot of the bridge. Now the bridge is really symbolic. The bridge is about Renton's journey. Okay, Renton's like this tiny little speck on the bridge in the shot that we've missed in this little like skipped bit, and that's about his insignificance. He's realizing that, that about his, his role in the world is really, really small. So that insignificance of him on the bridge, but also when we see that shot of the bridge, it's dawn, it's a new day. So this is a new day for Renton, and then this shot of him like going from the distance, and he gets closer and closer and closer until he takes up the whole screen. It becomes blurry and off he goes. So this is really interesting. It's a fourth wall break. He's walking towards you. He's talking to you. He's still sort of like criticizing you, your way of life, the audience's mainstream perception, but he's also saying, I'm going to be just like you. So it's really contradictory. He's still kind of like is making fun of and criticizing this like mainstream consumerist lifestyle, but but now he's like saying, yeah, it's a bit like rubbish, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. This is how I survive. This is how I'm going to live. I'm going to be just like you.
I'm going to change. This is the last of that sort of thing. I'm cleaning up and I'm moving on, going straight and choosing life. I'm looking forward to it already. I'm going to be just like you. The job, the family, the fucking big television, the washing machine, the car, the compact disc and electrical tin opener, good health, low cholesterol, dental insurance, mortgage, starter home, leisure wear, luggage, three-piece suite, DIY, game shows, junk food, children.
So in the end, his features all blur into nothingness. And that's kind of what being part of the homogeneous mass, which we are, essentially, and what he is deciding, he is electing to become, is all about this sort of like this lack of identity, this sort of like pseudo individualization, this idea that we elect, we decide to be in a state of false consciousness. And he's saying this is how he wants to exist. So he's becoming anonymous. That blurring out of his features is about his new anonymity.
Walks in the park, 9 to 5, good at golf, washing the car, choice of sweaters, family Christmas, index pension, tax exemption, clearing the gutters, getting by, looking ahead, the day you die.
Okay, so that moment is really, really important. You have to end the film with a redemption moment for Renton. If the film finished with him off, like, with his smirk, like walking towards us, getting away with the money, we would have a different emotional reaction to that ending. But now we have this idea that, oh, he's redeemed himself to us. He's given something to Spud, everyone's favourite character. So at the end of the film, the message is redemption. It feels, with that moment where Spud gets the money, it feels as if Renton has learned something about himself and about the world, but also he's giving. He's changed. He's a changed man. He's now a good guy because he gives something away to Spud. So that is really important. Redemption at the end. That is the message. The final messages of this film are to accept consumerism, to accept that we're part of the homogenous mass. That's how we survive. That's a desirable thing to be. That's what the message is. And also the redemption of Renton at the end. Okay, I hope that you found this somewhat useful. Goodbye, muffins, and I will see you next time.